This lets me breathe underwater. This does. Yeah, it's compressor, yeah. Yeah. Yes, it's always fun to interact with people who are interested in the hooker system or the tankless dive system. Lots of people always come up and ask me how it works and how it functions and how it is. Anyway, today's dive we're going to go looking for the guitarfish that I encountered the other day. You'll see a nice big flathead there coming out of the sandy bottom. There's plenty of them around at the moment. This is a little bit of a half pipe sitting on the bottom, looking inside to see if there was anything interesting there. I hear a noise and look up, and there's my dive compressor. There goes a jet ski right next to it. Could have damaged the dive compressor, could have damaged the hose. There's a flag on the compressor showing clearly that there's a diver down below. And unfortunately, some people just have no sense at all. Anyway, back to the dive. Beautiful little diamond batfish there. These fish here are usually very, very skittish when I come for a dive. They did actually come out and get a little bit closer this time around. Not quite sure what species they are yet. I'll have to look that up. Going down a bit further, coming through the hole in the wall here, which leads into a couple of larger holes, which are in the main current. Here's my little friends coming back to say hello. And it's on the sandy bottoms beyond here that I've seen the guitarfish recently start to congregate and just nestle into the sand on the bottom. It's beautiful here in the Nambucca River Basin. Found a spot here to sit down and take a bit of a rest and enjoy the view. We're sitting at about 6 meters deep here at the moment. Always lots of brim, wrasse. There's a school of large black drummer that congregate in this area. Every time I come down and dive, you'll see some in the background there. I started calling the brim saltwater chickens. They have a behaviour that tends to mimic chooks when you're pottering around a yard or doing some gardening. The chickens love to follow you around and see what's going on. Very curious. That's what the brim are like, but also a lot of the stripy fish as well. You would have just seen the black and yellow ones hanging out. There's a little sandy flathead there. It's actually quite a large one. The GoPro makes fish look much smaller than they actually are. It's quite a large one. That one, often you'll see the females with a smaller male laying down next to them. Here's the school of black drummer. Some of these are quite large as well. It's the first time I spot one of the guitarfish off in the distance. There's actually two there. The one on the left is probably longer than I am tall, and I'm 6 foot 2 inches. So what I was hoping for today is to slowly move a bit closer to them and see just how close I can get to get some footage. The first time I encountered them, they were extremely skittish and wouldn't let me come close to them at all. But on that encounter there, I was probably only about 1 meter away from them. This is a younger one here. And on the left there is a larger guitarfish, really nestled into the sand. Now it lets me get quite close to it indeed. I think they're just really beautiful sea creatures. They have a real stealth look about them. They have these lovely dots down the sides of their skin. I think it's amazing how they have this shark-looking body and this stingray-looking head. And they get these little suckerfish hanging around on them and following them around. I didn't want to get extremely close to this one. It looked very comfortable in the sand there. I didn't want to disturb it. And here's a little batfish coming to say hello, even getting the reflection of my goggles. Here was a beautiful stingray coming through. I didn't catch it on video the other day. There was a white-spotted black eagle ray, a very large one, probably would have been about 5 or 6 foot wide and moving extremely fast throughout the water. Here's just a nice little assortment of some of the tropical fish that we get here in Nambucca Heads. This is, I'm seeing a lot lately. There seem to be these little areas where sinkers from fishermen who have gotten themselves snagged tend to get washed into a particular area. I'm going to do a video soon of doing a bit of a cleanup. We've had a lot of tourists in the area for the holidays, which means certainly an increase in fishing and an increase in a lot of fishing line and hooks and lures and the like getting stuck around the rocks and in a lot of the seagrasses. So I'll dedicate one of these days to collect as much as I can, and we'll get a video of that also. Here's someone's shirt that's gone missing. Possibly came off a boat, or even one of the fishermen on the rocks might have lost it. So when I've got a catch bag, I like to collect these. Now off in the distance here, you can see as I'm getting closer, it looks like, it looks like a set of wheels off a train or some sort of cart. Had to pause there to just enjoy the beauty of that fish. Now these wheels here, they're solid steel. I've got no idea what they're doing on the bottom of the river here. Couldn't really see any other debris. I did see one other wheel, which you'll see in a moment. But yeah, very curious. Yeah, I'd love to know the history of things like this and how they got there. Some sort of cord around it, as well as fishing line, and I can see some sinkers and hooks stuck in there also. Here we see somebody's lost snorkel stuck under a log. Probably a little bit too deep here for someone to dive down and retrieve that if they had lost it. This is the beauty of this dive system. You can go down to about 10 to 12 meters, and the particular one that I've got has a battery which will last up to 5 hours. Now, I did a dive yesterday for about an hour and another hour today, and when I was getting out, I checked the battery level on the compressor, and it was only at 91%, which is just fantastic. Here's another large guitarfish, which you'll see in a moment. I was able to make my way to the front of it and get a front-on video of its face, which it has that typical smiling mouth that rays have on the underside of their heads. It wasn't too bothered with me being there. At this point, I'm probably about 1.5 meters away from it. The position it's in, it actually allows the current water to flow underneath, and I think they do this so that any kind of small creatures or mollusks or crabs or anything like that that come underneath them with the current is a food source for the rays. Looking to the right, there's more nestled in on the sand. At the moment I can see 1, 2 and 3. So that's 5, 6 all total that I've seen so far. As I come a bit closer to these 3, I do actually get the closest encounter that I've had to one of the shovel-nosed sharks, with the younger one coming over the rocks here. Does actually decide to turn around, and as I drop down it comes right past me. I could have touched it, but I didn't want to freak it out in any way. Look at that, what a beautiful, beautiful sea creature. Closest I've been to a guitarfish so far, and it was just a really wonderful experience. And it put me in a position too to be able to come front on to that larger guitarfish that was nestled on the sand before and try to get a close-up of its face and its mouth. Now I get distracted by that guy coming and nestling into the sand. Now I did move as slowly as I possibly could here. The visibility was okay. It wasn't the best that I've had it here, but it was pretty good for the day. And this certainly was an angle that I'd not been able to take before with one of these guys. Yeah, and that was pretty much it. I'd had a great time with the guitarfish, and it was time to start slowly moving back to the beach. Final goodbye to this guy here. Once again, there's that school of black drummer that when I stay still around them, sometimes they get very curious and come right up and check me out and see what's going on. Now this black drummer here, you'll see with some black weed sticking out of its mouth. I've seen it on about 4 different occasions now, this fish. I dare say it's got some sort of hook and line stuck in its mouth, and some weed has got tangled up in it. Not sure what to do about that. I'd like to try to get it somehow and get that hook out of its mouth. But anyway, I love these little yellow and black stripies. Very curious. So I have a bit of a play with them before I head back. Definite chicken behaviour there. Here's a little pufferfish just having a rest. He even waves his little fins to say hello. Actually, he's probably saying get away from me. And the final flathead. This was quite a large flathead, nestled in the sand. It's really good to see so many around. We've got a very healthy flathead population in the area at the moment. And this is just the final shallows heading back to the beach. It's been a great dive, spectacular experience with the guitarfish. And if you ever find your way up Nambucca Heads, highly recommend going out into our river system here and checking out the fantastic marine life. Anyway, till next time, stay free and stay happy.